What's up, everyone? This is Raoul. I'm the author of $10 Credit Repair, the Ultra Edition. Today, we are going to be talking about late payments and how to remove them as fast as 14 days. Now, what is a late payment? A late payment is when you missed your scheduled payment date. Now, some lenders, some credit card companies, and some banks have what's called a grace period. So if your payment is due on the 15th and you have a 5-day grace period, it won't be considered late until the 21st. Now, there are credit card companies and lenders similar to Credit One that don't offer a grace period, meaning if it's due on the 15th, the 16th, if it shows up, will be considered late. So now that we got that out of the way, what else about a late payment? A late payment hurts your credit totally different than anything else, because no matter what your credit score is, there are lenders, credit card companies, and banks that will disqualify you for recently reporting late payment. Now, each one of those can define recently totally different. Some lenders will not consider you, and some apartment complexes and lease companies will not consider your application if your late payment is within the past 6 months. A lot of banks won't consider your application if it's within the past 12 months. Now, it varies depending on where you're applying and what are you trying to acquire. Now we got that out of the way. First, once a late payment hits your credit report, and this is directly out of Chapter 2, you're going to identify: are all 3 credit bureaus reporting this as late? Who's the data furnisher? Meaning, is it a bank, your car note, your credit card, your personal loan, your jewelry loan? Who's reporting a late payment on your credit report? And if you actually paid it late and you know it's late, let's go on to the next step. You're going to print out a copy of all the credit bureau reports that are showing it being reported late. You're going to dispute this, and let me explain to you, you don't need a form letter. You don't need a letter from ChatGPT giving you all the USC or UCC codes to remove the item, because first, you need evidence from the credit bureaus that they violated your consumer rights. And if they violate your consumer rights, the late payment can be permanently deleted. Get that straight. Permanently deleted, even if you paid late. You actually paid your credit card late, your car note late. That is not what you're trying to do to dispute with the actual bank or lender. It is your credit bureau who is reporting that. So it's Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian, or all 3. So now, how do you find out if they violated your consumer rights? The first step, and this is on page 32 out of Chapter 2, you're going to take a clean sheet of paper. On this clean sheet of paper, you're going to write your name, your date of birth, your social security number, your address, and your contact information in case they need to contact you. Once you place that information on there, you're going to address it to the credit bureau in which you're sending this letter to. This can be a handwritten letter. Matter of fact, I recommend a handwritten letter because all the credit bureaus use eOscar. What is eOscar? eOscar is a computer system that scans your letters or your disputes. Once they get it, they categorize it with 2 digits. So there's no need to use a ChatGPT generated letter or some ultra formulated letter when it's going to turn into 2 digits. So simply use white sheet of paper, handwrite your information on there and say, hey, I don't believe I ever paid this account late. You're going to mail it to 1 or all 3 credit bureaus. And this is your first round of disputes, meaning this is the only issue you have and you've never had anything before. In Chapter 2, out of the Ultra Edition, you're going to include a copy of your front and back of your driver's license, a copy of your most recent utility bill, not a cell phone bill, power bill, internet, cable, or gas, and you're going to include a copy front and back of your Social Security card. The reason you do this is to prevent the credit bureaus from sending you a letter 30 days later requesting to verify your identity. So you're going to beat them to it. You're going to include that in there. On the bottom of your dispute letter, you must write this: I want the results of your investigation provided to me in writing. Why do you do that? Well, if you don't put that line on there, all the credit bureaus, if you sign up to their website to get free credit monitoring or a copy of your credit report, Experian is notorious for this. They will send your results via email. There's no way you will know unless you're constantly checking your email. It can go into your spam, and it can be a very generic letter, meaning you can't really use it to escalate. So you're going to always request to have your disputes responded to in writing, just with that single line. Once you submit the letter to the credit bureaus, they have 30 days. They're on the clock. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 611, gives the credit bureaus 30 days to provide you investigation results. Once you get those results, it's going to be one of two things. Either they're going to remove it, or they're going to send you a letter stating, we've confirmed that this item is reporting correctly and we verified it to be accurate. You need to jump up and down for joy. Why? Because now they violated your consumer rights. They didn't tell you who they spoke to. They don't tell you what method of verification they used, nor did they give you any documentation proving that actually did the investigation, meaning you don't see your payment history, they don't have anything from that lender or that data furnisher. And remember, when I say data furnisher, that is the person who has reported the information to the credit bureau that you were late. Now, once you get that letter, you're then going to go to consumerfinance.gov. You're going to upload a copy of that letter and an original copy of your handwritten letter and state, the credit bureau violated my consumer rights because they never provided the method of verification. When you submit that to the CFPB, you're going to denote the report number, and now that you have evidence that they violated your consumer rights, you're just going to wait 30 days to have it either deleted or an explanation given to you by the credit bureaus. If they give you an explanation, you can still submit another consumer dispute to have it deleted. If you have any questions, click the link in my bio. Hope you have a great day. Buy the Ultra Edition. We came out of Chapter 2 today, and it takes you step by step. If you want the actual letter and the wording, just click the link in my bio and buy a copy today.